You know, guys, if there's one thing the gaming community can go without nowadays, it's another post-apocalyptic survival shooter in the style of DayZ. Like, I get it. You got your Rusts, you got your Ark, you got your actual DayZ, you got your H1Z1 or Just Survive or whatever the f it's called. The game's changed its names 50 million times to try to stay relevant. But you guys get the picture. Now, this game Deadside came up onto my radar and I was checking it out and I've seen the mostly positive reviews on Steam. So I said, I'm gonna give this a shot. You know, this looks like a game that could be fun with some friends. I'm hearing some good things about it. Do I need another post-apocalyptic survival shooter in the style of DayZ? Not exactly, but I'll give it a shot. So I'm just gonna be clear with everybody. I did get a review copy from the developer, Bad Pixel. So shout out to those guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll be gentle. No, I won't. So what is Deadside? Deadside is a multiplayer survival game in the style of DayZ.
What the hell?
No, but for real, what's different about Deadside and what I really noticed when jumping in is it was more in the style, not so much of DayZ, but mostly Escape from Tarkov. Now, Escape from Tarkov is a game that personally, this is an opinion, of course, a steaming pile of shit. I think those developers are pricks and they're pricks to the community, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways, the reason I'm comparing Escape from Tarkov with Deadside is because they have a similar play structure in terms of using vendors and completing missions to earn reputation points, which you then turn in. You can use as spawn points. You can actually get cash off dead players or NPCs. They actually have scav-like enemies in the game, which I was not aware of. And I don't think it was made very clear. And a lot of people were like, oh, I don't want to play another survival game where you're just kind of, it's a running simulator, right? I'm tired of those types of games. And by the way, I just fired up DayZ on Xbox and I would literally rather cut my dick off and eat it. So now that you know what my feelings are on Escape from Tarkov and DayZ, which had nothing to do with this video, let's talk about the graphics for Deadside. So there are plenty of graphical options. I was playing in 4K resolution, VSync off with the view distance and everything set to epic. And the game was chugging a little bit. It did much better than I thought it would. I thought it would be frame dropping like crazy. But I ended up just turning things like anti-aliasing and post-processing down to medium, shadows down to high, because I wanted that like buttery smooth, no hiccup gameplay. And the game ran beautifully. It ran at 60 frames per second easily. I was pushing 80, 90 with everything set to epic. So it was really, really nice. The game graphically itself is a very pretty game. It's very surprising coming from a small developer like this, and most of these survival type games just typically look like a horse's ass. But the Unreal Engine 4 really shines here, and I think Bad Pixel did a really good job. I think they know what they're doing with it. From the moonlight bouncing off the grass at night, and the sunlight nearly blinding you as it reflects from a puddle, it was all really nice touches, and the details and the textures are really crisp as well. Overall, I was very impressed with the graphics and the lighting. Now, for you hardcore character creators out there, you're gonna be disappointed because the only thing you can character create is your face. And in a game like this, honestly, it doesn't really matter because you're mostly going to get your face blown off. That's right, this game is relentless. It's 1 to 2 shot death for sure. And most people will shoot you on sight.
Oh, fuck. They're both...
But, guys, I did run into a couple nice chaps. When I went back to the safe zone area, which you use to buy new equipment, to buy survival gear, things like that, even building materials, because you can craft your own bases. When I went back to this area, the safe zone, there was a gang of guys just having this really intimate, deep conversation.
I'll put my butthole on your eyeball and fart, bro. Give you pink eye.
So, dude.
I did my typical thing where I go up there and I'm a smart ass and I'm talking back to them, but they were firing back on all cylinders, guys, and I made a couple new friends. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Scoot Gang, because one of these chaps was nice enough to give me a brand new shiny MP5, but no ammo though, you prick. So shout out to Scoot Gang for going out of their way to donate me an MP5, because I know those are pretty hard to find and they're expensive to buy. But I went out for about 5 minutes after that, immediately got killed and lost it. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. Sound design wise, this game is built very well. You can hear all the footsteps. The birds and the owls are chirping and howling, or hooting, whatever the f. And the atmosphere just sounds really alive. The immersion's really there. It has that intense feeling that we've all come desensitized to over time playing these types of games, where when you get into a firefight, your toes buckle up, you start making that face that your lips stick out and you start gritting your teeth and you're like, oh shit, and you get really intense. It brings that feeling back, which I really liked. And I was really surprised at how the netcode worked and how smooth everything felt. The shooting felt really nice. The guns sounded actually real.
Oh shit. Dude's right there. Oh shit! I think these are scabs.
I was really impressed. I expected really low budget sounds because this is such a small game, small developer, but they really went out of their way that the gunfire felt authentic and looked authentic, and also it just made everything much more intense. So I'm really happy with the sound design in the game as well. One thing I'm not happy about is how you can't fucking swim in the game. Like, you don't even have to add an animation. Just let me walk through just let me float through. I was running across so many different rivers and whatnot while getting shot at, sometimes just starving to death, trying to find some food, and I would just get stuck. I would get stuck. I would hit an invisible wall, and the game wouldn't let you push past it. You had to go around every body of water that was more than 3 feet deep, and it was kind of shit, if we're being honest. But on a lighter note, a great aspect for the survival portion of the game is that, yes, you do have a hunger and a thirst meter that you have to quench, and you have to fill up in order to survive, or else you start starving, you know, going dehydrated, whatever. I didn't feel like I was constantly fighting those meters, and that's huge for a survival game like this, in survival games nowadays in general, because I feel like in survival games you spend 20% of the time looting, you spend maybe 10% of the time fighting, and then the other 70% of the game you spend just trying to stay alive from your hunger and thirst meters by scavenging for food. And so I was glad that you didn't constantly have to fight that meter. And there's plenty of food around. I wouldn't say plenty, but there's enough to keep you alive and running around outside to scavenge. I think it's very well balanced, and that's one thing I'm happy that the game does, is the hunger and the thirst isn't an enemy like it is in most survival games. It's just kind of an added feature that you got to look out for, because there are a couple times where me and my buddy were out there scavenging, doing some loot runs so we can bring back the loot and, you know, turn it in for cash. And we were starting to get low. Our thirst meter was starting to get to the 30%, 40% area, and we started going, oh shit, we need to get back to base. And so we would successfully make it back to base, and we would use some of the hard-earned money we got to buy some beverages and some food items. And I think that keeping the focus on the combat, which is what they really do in the looting, is what really makes this game shine compared to the rest of the survival games out there now. Now, when you pop open the big map, it looks intimidating. You pop it open, you're like, oh my god, I'm 3-4 miles away from everything. The good news is that the map is smaller than it actually seems. So you can run from one side of the map to the other in, you know, several minutes, real time. So it's not that bad compared to other games where you just run the whole fucking time and then you get shot and then you wasted all of your time. Now on this map, you'll see different missions pop up, and the missions are little red markers that have different difficulty levels, and these missions are actually NPC missions, or for Tarkov players, scavs. So they're NPC players. So you go in there, and depending on the difficulty level, you'll fight tons of enemies that are a little bit weaker, or you'll fight some stronger enemies. So you'll get all different sorts of guns, you'll get different looting and crafting materials like nails and planks and things like that, wood, to build your base. So doing the missions is very rewarding and very recommended. However, being that it is an open world multiplayer game, other people will be in there trying to do the same thing. So every encounter turns into a fucking war zone. You got the NPCs, the scavs shooting at you, shooting at the other players shooting at the NPCs, the other players shooting at you. And what's cool is that you don't exactly know who's who. You don't know who's a real player. You don't know who a scav is until you look on the bottom left side of the screen and you see that the person you just shot in the neck was a real player. And it's got that sense of reward where you can take their dog tags and you can go turn them in back at the camp to get reputation points, which will allow you to spawn in different areas of the map. Willingly. So it's really cool, rather than just dying and then having to respawn in a separate location and being 2 miles away from your friend. So there's really cool aspects as far as that goes, where it's PvPvE or PvEvP or PvP. And I really like that about the game. I think that was a really cool touch. So overall, guys, I'm really happy with this game and how it turned out. Very pleasantly surprised, and I feel like this is a game that I can sink my teeth in. It's only $20 on Steam as well, which is a huge plus, because other games like DayZ and whatnot are still $30, $40, $35 and all this crazy shit. So $20, you get what you get. There is no bullshit DLCs. There's no padding around it that, pay to win. Nothing like that, guys. I love the game. I'm having a great time. I think you guys will as well. So check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for stopping by. Please like and share the video. Let's get the word out there that there is another awesome game out there that's just kind of straying away from the rest of the pack and just kind of doing its own thing without falling in line. But anyways, guys, you know how it goes. In a world full of shady video games and shady companies, I'm just here to educate and inform. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a nice night.